Hello, God bless you. My name is Michelle Riley, and I wanted to come over here today and basically give you 6 tips for entrepreneurs who either have a team or are looking to implement a team in their business. Now, I know that I've promised you on this site that I wanted to give you information regarding moving you toward your purpose, and this is one component of that. So let me get into these 6 tips that I'm going to give you based on those who already have teams or who are looking to implement a team. Okay, so now the first one is, are your team members producing results in your business? So this is the first tip. Make sure that if you have team members and they are aboard with you, what are the results that they're producing? Can you measure that? Do you have a timeline to say, let's say, for instance, Janie, brought in 5 new clients within a 90-day period, or uh, Terry brought in, increased our bottom line by X amount of dollars. So if you have team members, then you want to make sure that they are increasing the bottom line, they're bringing in the results, or either whatever task or responsibility that you're handing over to them to do, that they're meeting that goal, or even exceeding that goal. And I would suggest also in this that you would keep like milestones, like do 90-day assessments to see if they're being consistent, because the real thing, and I don't want to just say the real thing, but the thing that can hurt your business is keeping people on who are no longer productive. That's what I wanted to say. Keeping people on your team that are no longer producing results. And sometimes we form, as people and entrepreneurs, we get to know that person. And I'm going to give you some tidbits down a little bit. And I believe tip number 5, that is going to be basically help you to discern. And maybe for those who don't have a team yet, this is the guidelines that you can now set for yourself. So when you bring people in on your business, you already have a grid, you already have a working diagram of how that is supposed to look on paper. You're not just basically saying, oh, well, I need this person to help me with marketing, or I need this person to help me, with, keeping up with my social media accounts. You're making sure that they're producing the results to see that business grow. Okay. Tip number 2 is, are they self-starters, or do they have to wait for your instruction? Meaning, what is their when they come on board with your business, are you giving them a job description? How much freedom do they have to come in and do X, Y, and Z? For instance, if once someone is overseeing your marketing, how much freedom are you giving them to make decisions based on what it is that they are doing? Do they have the okay to post? Do they have the okay to answer post social media posts? So you have to make sure what that looks like for your business, because God forbid, you don't want someone posting some type of content that you are not okaying, or you're not saying, okay, that's okay to post. Like, do they have to come to you before they post something, or do you trust them and you have given them the go ahead to go ahead and run that department for you without you basically having to oversee every task that they do? So it is very important that you create not only just a job description, but what that entails. Like, what is their job when they come in at whatever time that you have them to come in? Do they have to check in with you? Is there a system that they get on the computer and go to that system and begin their work, or do they have to take instruction from you? That's very vital for you to be able to break that down, so they won't be lost when they come on, or always have to interrupt you for what it is that they need to do to make the business go forth. Okay. Tip number 3. Does any of your team members meet with your prospective clients, or customers. Meaning, do you, okay, I'm gonna give you some examples. Like if you own space and maybe you're renting out space for certain events, and you have a team member where maybe you are in a meeting or you're doing something and you ask this team member to go ahead and show this person this space, so this way, they can, utilize that time while you're doing something else. And what I need to say to you is make sure that that person who is meeting with your customers, potential customers or clients, that they are personable, that they can basically have the type of personality where when they're meeting with these clients, that their demeanor is not where it is like, they're standoffish, they're in a place where they're looking the people and judging the people, and just have this bad demeanor, this bad aura about them. And that is so vital, especially when people are looking to do business with you in certain areas. You want to make sure that that person who is basically touching your customers, or basically coming in and having anything to do with your customers or your potential clients, that you have already, screened them, you have already took them through the process of how to interact with that client, and you want to make sure that they're not hurting your business. And I'm saying this because I've seen it done. I've seen people who really felt that their partner or one of their team members was basically the end all be all person to help them in this area. And basically this person's demeanor was dry. They were just overbearing, even just showing them a basic room, and it was really saying, wow, does this person know that that's hurting their business? So what I would implore you to do, even if you have allowed that to go forth in the past, check with the client, or check with that person who has come, to look and see what is going on in your business, to see if they could rent space or whatever that looks like for you, to say, what, I had, one of my team members, greet you or show you X, Y, and Z. What was their personality like? What was their demeanor like? How did they interact with you? Because that is so important, because you want to make sure that that person is not driving business away from you. You want to make sure that person is helping you to get that client in, that they're asking the right questions, that they're basically following the policy. And that's another point to that part, number 3, that I want to basically stress. Make sure that you have policy and guidelines that are based on what that team member needs to, follow. Like, they can't go off on their own grid unless it is something that you trust this person. This person, you found this person, and this person is basically an expert in dealing with people, and they know how to, speak and speak well. They know how to, address the issues that the customer may have. So that is very important, that they are, bringing what it is, what I would say, your vision to that customer or that client, that when, even though you're not there, or maybe you can't meet with that client or that person at that time, that when you get the feedback from that person, say, oh wow, they were very personable, I really think that I'm going to go ahead and we can do business with you. And that's what you want to hear. But when we don't check on team members, because we feel like we have years with them, we feel like they got our back, but we fail to check and do our due diligence, and, basically saying, this is business. We may be friends, and I'm going to get to that point in a minute, but it is basically, I want to make sure that you're helping the business to blossom, and that we're basically building our brand off of what the vision is. Make sure, and that's another part that was not part of my tips, but I'm giving to you as a bonus. Make sure that all of your team members know the vision of your business. Make sure that they have that vision and they're able to run with it, and they're adding to that vision to see it come to fruition. Because anyone who does not have the vision, and they always kick in and want to do things their way, and I'm not saying that you don't give creativity and you don't give space for your members to grow and become creative in making the business, expandable. But what I'm saying is, if they're kicking against what it is that you're trying to set the tone of your business, then you want to make sure that you kind of cut that really quickly. Number 4. Who are your team members made up of? Are they family members? Are they friends? And I'm not saying that we don't put these people in our business, but what I'm saying is make sure that you're not bringing them in just because they're your family or just because they are your friends. The first questions, one of the questions I would ask, what are they bringing to the table? I'm not just going to bring, and in an experience I had, I brought a friend in to the business, and basically they did not do X, Y, and Z, because at that time it was based on friendship. It wasn't based on what it was they could do, their skills, their know-how, any expertise in any area. It was just basically based on friendship. And when it came for now me to be that boss and be that employer, that person didn't want to receive that. So then we got to be so careful of who we put in place, especially when it comes to our family members and our friends. Do they have any skills? Do they have a good work ethic? Do they show up on time? Do they do the tasks that are given to them? All of these are a factor, because sometimes we just want, that's my ride or die, that's my friend, and I want them to come aboard. But what are they bringing to the table? Because just because they're your friend does not mean they are supposed to be in business with you. They can be on the sidelines and they can cheer you on, but you have to really make sure that that person truly sees your vision, truly is there to be a help and not a hindrance. Amen. Okay, now I want to give you number 5, and we're almost done. When a team member is not working out, what is your procedure for letting them go? See, this is so vital, that when they come to you, or however you find them, whether through a referral, whether through somebody suggested them, whether you found them through, I don't know, certain ads that you placed, when it's time to let that team member go, do you have that down in writing? Are they an at-will employee? Like, what is the exit strategy for them to leave that job? Because we want to make sure that we don't get sued in the midst of having to let someone go because they're underproducing, because they are not, fulfilling that role anymore or any longer, or maybe they never fulfilled it. And now, because you're getting these tips, you're realizing that, and you're saying, wow, I didn't have this in place. And it's so vital. And for those who don't have teams in place, you are really starting out on good ground, because basically you can implement and start putting this in. And then I will do a later webinar on helping you to structure that and see how that looks, and how we can kind of map that out. And I'll do a webinar with some downloads for you to basically, get started in that area. So the next point I wanted to give is your business above board. Meaning, are your business practices in line with meeting your taxes, and you're not doing anything cutting corners that would put the business in jeopardy, and all of these things? And then are you bringing your employees in on your unscrupulous business practices? Because that is so dangerous, because you can have an employee and they may be covering for you because they know you cutting corners in this area and that area, and now they may be underproducing, or maybe they don't show up to work on time, or maybe they just getting lax and lazy because now they know something about your business that can hurt or hinder you, because you are not doing good business practices. So they feel like, oh, well, if they fire me, I'm going to go, and I'm going to go to the city and tell the city this is what they're doing. They're doing X, Y, and Z. I'm going to go and squeal to the IRS on them because they're fudging on their taxes and so many things. So this is why you want your business to be above board. And then you don't want your team members to be so involved in certain areas of your business. If you have an accountant, then you get that accountant to do those the accounting part of your business, and you keep certain parts of your business away from your team members, because you don't want to just be vulnerable and opening up how much, I mean, not to say some areas about, okay, how much we made this quarter. Some things we do have to share with our team members to know that we're progressing. But even there's software where you can purchase for your business that would give your team members only a limited access to certain areas of that software, where, yeah, you could have made this much for this quota, but that doesn't mean they know the entire amount of the bottom line that's coming in. So you want to be so careful of who you give access to. Make sure that those passwords are hidden. Make sure that no one can just go in the drawer and open up the file and see passwords and access your accounts. Make sure that your business checkbooks are put in a place that is secure in a locked cabinet. And even if you have petty cash, designate who is able to, give that out and purchase things, office supplies and things for the business, because it is so vital. I hear and I've read horror stories about how business folded and closed because of their unscrupulous business practices, and how some employees held their employer hostage because they knew certain things that would ruin the business. So we want to make sure that we're doing right business practices. Amen. So the next one, I guess that was 6, but I'm going to give you a bonus one. And this is, I would say, the icing on the cake. Make sure you're not partnering with someone that does not see the vision of your business and basically wants to come in and run it their way. And you feel as though, well, you know what, I'm just going to use them or utilize them because, one, they have good contacts. So I know that if I get a hold of their contact list, that I can really make some money. So you're bringing in someone who does not see eye to eye with you on certain things, and you're trying to make that a viable partnership, and it's going to cause you some problems down the road. I always go to the Word of God in Amos 3:3 that says, how can two walk together unless they're in agreement? You cannot bring somebody in your business to partner with you just because you feel that they have a component that would help you to make money. You have to make sure that they are a right fit and that they get the vision and that you're on the same path down that road in your entrepreneurial journey. So this was just some 6 tidbits. I wanted to put up some 6 tips to help you, whether you have a team or whether you're beginning to implement a team. And like I said, I will bring forth a webinar based on these tips that I've given you right here, and I will break it down and kind of give you some guidelines and some structure, how to put that all together, so that when we are bringing people in on our team, we are prepared and we are equipped to make sure that we are not, fooling ourselves, and we're in business, but we're trying to make money, but we're not working on the business on the behind the scenes and growing our team and getting them in the place that we can see that growth and that expansion come forth while we're building our brand. So God bless you. I pray that this has helped you and given you some insight for those who are on that entrepreneurial journey. And I will see you next time on Created for Purpose, being intentional with purpose. Bye-bye.